Namo Buddhaya, the Large Sutra on Perfect Wisdom, the Satasahasrika Prajnaparamita Sutram, the chapter 17, the preparations for the stages. The equipment with the stages. As Subhuti has said, how does a Bodhisattva become one who has set out in the great vehicle? Here, Subhuti, a Bodhisattva person in the six perfections, passes on from stage to stage. How? In the sense that no Dharma even passes on, and why? Because no Dharma whatsoever comes or goes, passes on or comes near. A Bodhisattva doesn't mind the stages of Dharma, doesn't reflect on them, he sets to work on each stage, but does not review that stage, which then are the preparations for the stages on the part of a Bodhisattva. A Bodhisattva who proceeds on the first stage should effect 10 preparations. They are 1. Resolute intention in a spirit of nonapprehension. 2. He should apply beings with beneficial things but without apprehending a sign. 3. The same attitude of mind to all beings but without apprehending a being. 4. Renunciation on account of non-apprehension of a giver, gift, and recipient. 5. Tending the good spiritual friends in nonintimacy with them. 6. Search for the good Dharma on account of the non-apprehension of all Dharmas. 7. Leaving home again and again on account of the non-apprehension of a home. 8. Longing for the body of a Buddha without apprehending his marks, minor characteristics, and signs. 9. The unveiling of Dharma on account of the non-apprehension of a differentiation between Dharmas. 10. Truthful speech on account of the non-apprehension of speech as a separate reality. Furthermore, Subhuti, a Bodhisattva who proceeds on the second stage, attempts to aid Dharmas and progresses in them. They are 1. Purity and morality. 2. Gratitude and thankfulness. 3. Firm grounding in the power of passions. 4. The experience of joy and zest. 5. The non-abandonment of all beings. The manifestation of the great compassion. 6. Respect and faith for the instructors. 7. Reverence for the instructors through the fact that he identifies them with the teacher. 8. Search for the perfections exclusively and entirely. Furthermore, on the third stage, one should stand in 5 dharmas. They are: first, an insatiable desire to learn much, but without settling down in the words. 2. The disinterested relation of the gift of Dharma, but without conceit about that. 3. The dedication of the wholesome roots to the purification of the Buddha field, but without conceit about that. 4. Indefatigability in measureless birth and death, but without conceit about that. 5. Establishment in a sense of shame and dread of blame, but without conceit about that. Furthermore, on the fourth stage, one should stand in 10 dharmas and not abandon them. They are: 1. Dwelling in the forest. 2. Fewness of wishes. 3. Contentment. 4. Non-abandonment of the austere penance of these ascetic practices. 5. Non-renunciation of moral trainings. 6. Loathing of sensuous qualities. 7. Production of a thought connected with disgust. 8. Renunciation of all that is his. 9. An uncowed attitude of mind. 10. Disregard for all things. Furthermore, on the fifth stage, one should avoid 10 dharmas. They are: 1. Intimacy with householders and wandering mendicants. 2. Jealousy about the families of the faithful. 3. The places where one meets society. 4. Exaltation of self. 5. Depreciation of others. 6. The 10 ways of unwholesome actions. 7. Conceit and arrogance. 8. Perverted views. 9. Doubt. 10. Toleration of greed, hate, and illusion. Furthermore, on the sixth stage, 6 dharmas should be fulfilled. They are the 6 perfections. Another 6 dharmas should be avoided. They are: 1. disciple thought. 2. Pratika Buddha thought. 3. Worrying thought. 4. Annoyance about beggars when one sees them. 5. A thought of sadness in spite of the fact that one must renounce all things. 6. Distraction by beggars. Furthermore, on the seventh stage, 20 dharmas do not become. 1 does not cease on. 1. A self. 2. A being. 3. A living soul. 4. A person. 5. Annihilationist views. 6. Eternalist views. 7. The notion of a sign. 8. Views about causes. 1 does not settle down in. 9. The skandhas. 10. The elements. 11. The sense fields. 12. What belongs to the triple world. 13. One doesn't attempt to do something about that belongs to the triple world. 14. One does not hang on to what belongs to the triple world. One does not settle down in views which 15. Regard the Buddha as a refuge. 16. Regard the Dharma as a refuge. 17. Regard the Sangha as a refuge. 18. Regard morality as a refuge. There are 19. No contentions about MTR the dharmas, and 20. No obstruction to emptiness. One who stands on the seventh stage should fulfill 20 dharmas. They are 1. Penetration into emptiness. 2. Realization of the signless. 3. Cognition of the wishless. 4. Threefold perfect purity. 5. Pity and compassion for all beings. 6. No contempt for them. 7. A vision of the sameness of all dharmas but without settling down in it. 8. Penetration to the reality true principle but no conceit through that. 9. Patient acceptance of non-production. 10. Cognition of non-production. 11. Expedition of the one single principle. 12. The uprooting of the imagination of all dharma. 13. Turning away from the perception and views. 14. Turning away from the defilement. 15. Pacification through calming down coupled with skill in insight. 16. The mind completely tamed. 17. The state of thought in which cognition is nowhere abstracted. 18. No ground for falling. 19. Go into the field one wishes to go to. And 20. Having stood there in the circle of the Buddha assembly, exhibiting a body. Furthermore, the 8th stage 4 dharmas should be fulfilled. They are 1. Entrance into the thought of all beings. 2. Playing with the superknowledges. 3. The vision of Buddha feels and the creation in accordance with what one has seen of those Buddha feels. And 4. Honoring the Buddhas and the contemplation of the Buddha body as it really is. Another 4 dharmas should be fulfilled on the 8th stage. 1. The cognition of the higher and the lower faculties of others. 2. Purification of the Buddha field. 3. The perpetual attainment of the concentration on everything as an illusion. 4. As the wholesome root of beings reach consummation, so he endures up a personality, producing a new becoming at will. Furthermore, on the 9th stage, 12 dharmas should be fulfilled. They are 1. The acquisition of infinite resolve. Just as he resolves, so he succeeds. 2. The cognition of the speech of gods, Nagas, Yakshas, Gandharvas, Asuras, Garudas, Kinnaras, and Maharagas. 3. The cognition of the exposition of ready speech, the accomplishment of 4. The descent into the womb. 5. The family. 6. The birth. 7. The clan. 8. The retinue. 9. The manner of birth. 10. Living home. 11. The miraculous harmony of the tree of enlightenment. 12. The fulfillment of all virtuous qualities. When he proceeds on the 10th stage, Bodhisattva, a great being, is verily to be called a Tathagata. The preparation of the resolute intention consists in that the Bodhisattva produces all wholesome roots through intentions connected with the knowledge of all bones. He supplies with beneficial things in the sense that for the will of all beings he undertakes the search for the cognition of the great vehicle. The same attitude of mind to all beings consists in his aspiring for the four unlimited, friendliness, compassion, sympathetic joy, and impartiality, and that through attentions associated with the knowledge of all modes. His renunciation means that he gives gifts to all beings without discrimination. Intending the good friends, he knows that his good friends are those who instigate him to the knowledge of all modes. Those friends he resorts to them, honors and reveres them. He searches for Dharma by means of attention associated with the knowledge of all modes, and he doesn't fall on the level of the disciple or practical Buddha. He again and again leaves home. In all his births, he lives home life in uncontaminated by other religious systems. He goes out into the religion of the Tathagata, and nothing comes to him in between to hinder him. The preparation of longing for the body of a Buddha consists in that after he has seen a Buddha frame, he never again becomes lacking in attention to the Buddha until he becomes one who has reached the knowledge of all modes. The preparation of the unveiling of Dharma consists in that the Bodhisattva, whether the Tathagata is still visibly present or whether he has gone into parinirvana, demonstrates to beings the Dharma helpful in the beginning, helpful in the middle, helpful in the end, good in sense, well phrased, perfect and complete. And in that he reveals that holy life, perfectly pure and highly cleansed. The discourses in prose, the verse mingled, predictions, verses, summaries, origins, thus was said, birth stories, expanded text, marvelous tales, and expositions. His preparation of truthful speech consists in that as he speaks, so he acts. The perfect purity of morality consists in the non-attention of to disciple thoughts and to practical Buddha thoughts, and in their non-attention also to other dharmas which make for bad behavior or cause delays on the road to enlightenment. Bodhisattva's gratitude and thankfulness consists in that, person in Bodhisattva course, he does not throughout the road of birth and death forget a small kindly action done to him, much less a big one. He is firmly grounded in the power of passions because his mental attitude to all beings is free from ill will and harming. The experience of joy and zest consists in the maturing of all beings. This is the manifestation of the great compassion that a bodhisattva who courses in the pilgrimage of a bodhisattva thinks that for the sake of the will of very single being will I roast in the hells for eons countless as the sands of the Ganges until that being has been established in the Buddha cognition. This fortitude with indefatigability for the sake of even one single being, that is the manifestation of the great compassion. And Bodhisattva's respect through faith consists in that through being always humble, he has an attitude of faith. His reverence for and faith in the instructor comes from the fact that in his instructors he sees the teacher. The search for the perfection exclusively and entirely in the state of searching for the perfections without doing anything else. The insatiable desire to learn much is the insatiableness which thinks that whatever has been taught by the Buddhas, the Lords, either here in this world system or in the world of all around in the 10 directions, all that I will retain in mind. All that I will retain in mind. The disinterested revelation of the gift of Dharma consists in that a bodhisattva demonstrates Dharma and does not accept for himself human enlightenment as a reward for that gift of Dharma. The dedication of the wholesome roots to the purification of Buddha field is the dedication of the wholesome roots by which, purifying the Buddha field, he purifies the thoughts of himself and of others. His indefatigability in measureless birth and death consists in that, supported by his wholesome roots, he matures beyond and purifies the Buddha field, but never feels any fatigue until he has fulfilled all dharmas and the knowledge of all modes. The establishment in a sense of shame and a dread or blame means the shunning of the thought of a disciple and practical Buddhas. He doesn't abandon the dwelling in the forest. He transcends the enlightenment of all the disciples and practical Buddhas. His fewness of wishes consists in that he doesn't even wish even for an enlightenment. He has contentment in that he does not put his mind even to the knowledge of all modes. He doesn't abandon the austere penance of the ascetic practices. That is his passion, acquiescence in the deep dharmas, which his meditation discloses to him. His non-renunciation of moral training consists in the non-observation of all moral duties. The loathing for sensuous qualities is the non-production of a sensuous thought. The production of a thought connected with disgust consists in what he does not return to any dharma. His renunciation of all that is his consists in the absence of seizing on inward and outward dharmas. The uncaught attitude of mind means that his thought does not get caught in any of the foundations of conscious life. The disregard for all things means the non-attention to all things. He avoids intimacy with householders. He passes on from Buddha field to Buddha field, is reborn apparitionally, and appears with a shaven head, yellow robe, and upper garment of a monk. He avoids intimacy with nuns. He doesn't stay with a nun even for the time of a finger snap, and yet doesn't feel troubled on that account. A Bodhisattva avoids jealousy about the families of the faithful. When he thinks to himself, I should bestow on beings all that makes them happy, but if those beings are and there is simply by their own merits, then I should not grudge them that. His avoidance of the places where one meets society consists in that a Bodhisattva will not stay with people who talk as their disciples and practical Buddhas do, and who may give rise to thoughts connected with them. He avoids self-exaltation by the non-reviewing of inward dharmas and the depreciation of others by the non-reviewing of outward dharmas. He should avoid the 10 ways of unwholesome actions because they cause obstacles to happy destiny, how much more so to the holy path and to full enlightenment. He avoids conceit because he doesn't review any dharma, how much less is superiority which could make him feel conceit. He avoids arrogance because he doesn't review that entity with regard to which arrogance could arise. He avoids perverted views through his non-apprehension of all entities. He avoids doubt because he reviews all dharmas free from the doubts engendered by the view of individuality. He avoids the toleration of greed, hate, and delusion because he reviews no objective cause for greed, hate, and delusion. The Bodhisattva should fulfill the 6 perfections because having stood in the 6 perfections, the Buddhas, the Lords, and the disciples and particular Buddhas have gone to go and will go to the other shore of the flood of the fivefold cognizable. What of the fivefold cognizable? The past, the future, the present, the inexpressible, the unconditioned. A Bodhisattva should avoid disciple thought and practical Buddha thought because it is not the path to enlightenment. He should not arise a word in thought because that is not the path to enlightenment. He should not produce a thought of annoyance when he sees beggars because that is not the path to enlightenment. He doesn't become sad even when he has renounced all that he had because that is not the path to enlightenment. He should not be distracted by beggars because that is not the path to enlightenment. Bodhisattva does not seize on a self or a being or a soul, a person, because absolutely they do not exist. He does not seize on annihilationist views, for no dharmas is ever annihilated, since all dharmas are absolutely unproduced. He doesn't seize on eternalist views because a dharma that has not been produced cannot become eternal. He has no notion of a sun because absolutely defilement does not exist. He does not form false views about causes because he does not review such views. He doesn't settle down in skandhas, elements, or sense fields because through their own being these dharmas do not exist. He doesn't settle down in that which belongs to the triple world because the own being of that which belongs to the triple world doesn't exist. He doesn't attempt to do something about that which belongs to the triple world because such an entity cannot be apprehended. He doesn't hang on to what belongs to the triple world because everything in it is without own being. He should not take refuge in Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha because it is not not from taking refuge in the view of Dharma and Sangha, and there is a vision of Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. He should not take refuge in the view of morality, because perfect purity of morality does not result from taking refuge in the view of morality. There should be no contentious about emptiness, because all dharmas are empty through their own being and not through emptiness. No abstraction should be raised to emptiness, because all dharmas are empty and emptiness cannot abstract emptiness. Emptiness should be fulfilled through the fulfillment of the emptiness of own marks. The singleness should be realized through non-attention to all signs. The wistless is cognized when his thought is no longer firmly grounded in anything that belongs to the triple world. The threefold perfect purity is the perfect purity of the 10 ways of wholesome actions. The fulfillment of pity and compassion for all beings is achieved by acquiring the great compassion. He should despise no being because his friendliness has become perfect. His vision of the sameness of all dharmas consists in that he adds nothing to all dharmas and subtracts nothing from them. His penetration to the reality true principle is the non-penetration of all dharmas. His passionate acceptance of non-production is the passionate acceptance of the fact that all dharmas are not produced, stopped, or put together. His cognition of non-production is the cognition of the non-production of name and form. The exposition of one single principle is that habitual absence of all notions of duality. The uprooting of the imagination of all dharmas is the non-discrimination of all dharmas. He is turning away from the perceptions of views and the turning away from the perceptions and views of the level of disciples, of all disciples and practical Buddhas. He is turning away from the defilements is the rejections of all the defilements and of the residues relating to them. The stage where quietude and decide are in equilibrium in the cognition of all the knowledge of all modes. His mind is completely tamed, for he feels no delight for the triple world. His unabstracted cognition is the acquiring of the Buddha eye. His knowledge of withdrawal from affection is the even-mindedness concerning everything that belongs to the six sense fields. His going to the field he wishes to go to consists in that without his turning from one single Buddha field, he appears in all Buddha fields and yet has no notion of a Buddha field. The exhibition of a body anywhere, everywhere refers to the exhibition of a body in the circle of an assembly, of the assembly. His entrance into the thoughts and conduct of all beings consists in that with one single thought he cognizes the thoughts and conduct of all beings. He plays with the superknowledges in the sense that playing with them at will, he can pass from Buddha field to Buddha field for a vision of the Buddha, but he doesn't become one who has a notion of the Buddha. The creation of Buddha fields in accordance with what he has seen consists in that after he has occupied in the greater Chidakosm the position of its ruler or that of a universal monarch, he renounces all world system, yet doesn't fancy himself for that. He honors the Buddhas, he honors the Dharma in order to help all beings. His contemplation of the Buddha body as it really is the contemplation of the Dharma body as it really is. His cognition of the higher and lower faculties of others consists in that as a result of having stood in 10 powers, he has a wise cognition of the extent to which the dominance of all beings are perfected. He purifies the Buddha field by purifying the thought of all beings. His concentration of everything as an illusion has the result that he does all deeds and yet no actual performance takes place. The perpetual attainment of his concentration is due to the fact that to the Bodhisattva it comes as a karma result of the good deeds of his past. He gains a personality at will. As the wholesome ruins of beings come to completion, so a Bodhisattva takes hold of a personality at will. The Bodhisattva's infinite resolve consists in that, as a result of having fulfilled the six perfections, whatever he resolves upon, that he accomplishes. His cognition of the speech of all beings consists in that, through the analytical knowledge of all languages, he comprehends the speech of the gods, etc. His fulfilled ready speech consists in that, through the analytical knowledge of ready speech, he penetrates to the cognition which enables him always to expound the Dharma effectively. He accomplished the descent into the womb by being in all births reborn apparitionally. He accomplished the family by being reborn in good families. He accomplished the birth by being reborn in noble families or in good Brahmin families. He accomplished the clan by being reborn in that clan from which the former bodhisattvas have come. He accomplished their retinue by being endowed with a retinue of bodhisattva after he has established being in enlightenment. He accomplished their manner of birth even when just born, and bodhisattva irradiates all world system with his splendor and shakes them all in 6 ways. He accomplished their leaving of his home by leaving home together with many hundreds of thousands of mutas of kotis of beings. A bodhisattva's accomplishments of the miraculous harmony of Bodhi tree consists in that the root of the Bodhi tree is made of gold, the trunk of Vaidurya, the branches of all kinds of jewels, the leaves of all kinds of previous things, and the fine fragrance of that tree and its radiance irradiate infinite world system. A bodhisattva's accomplishments of the fulfillment of all virtuous qualities in the perfect purity of his Buddha feel through the maturity of the beings in need. How should a bodhisattva great being who has stood on the 10th stage be called a Tathagata? When in a bodhisattva the 10 perfections, etc., the 18 special Buddha dharmas are fulfilled, and when there is the cognition of the knowledge of all modes and a forsaking for all defilements and of their residues relating to them, and when the great compassion of all Buddha dharmas have been fulfilled, it is then that a bodhisattva, a great being, after the 10th bodhisattva stage, is verily to be called a Tathagata. Which are the 10 stages of a bodhisattva, a great being? A bodhisattva coursing through skill in means in all the perfections, having been trained in the 37 wings of enlightenment, coursing in the unlimited, the trances, the formless attainment, coursing in the 10 powers of a Tathagata, the analytical knowledges, the 18 special Buddha dharmas, having passed beyond the 9 stages, the stage of bright insight, the stage of becoming one of the clan, the 8th lowest stage, the stage of visions, the stage of refinement, the stage of turning away from passion, the stage of him who has done, the stage of practical Buddha, the stage of a bodhisattva is established on the Buddha stage. This is the 10th stage of a bodhisattva great being. It is thus, Subhuti, that the bodhisattva, the great being, becomes one who has set out in the great vehicle. This is the end of 17th chapter of the Lunch Sutra on Perfect Wisdom, the Satasahasrika Prajnaparamita Sutram.